I am humbled to have the opportunity to give the commencement address to FeelGood's graduating seniors. Truthfully, I think you have more to teach me than I could ever pass on to you, but Maritza asked if I could share a few words, so here we go. When my daughter Kristin was a junior at the University of Texas, she and some of her fellow cross-country teammates were inspired by the Hunger Project's philosophy that ending hunger is not about feeding a billion hungry mouths, but rather about unleashing the talents and spirits of a billion human beings able to end their own hunger. Kristin and her friends looked for a way to get involved and contribute. Their idea? Offer fellow students grilled cheese sandwiches in exchange for a donation, and invest the proceeds in organizations with a proven track record of sustainable, gender-based hunger eradication. In less than 6 months, they raised $10,000. Not only that, they discovered that a grilled cheese sandwich had the power to start some amazing conversations about hunger and how we can end it. Upon her graduation, Kristin announced that this would become her life's mission. With that bit of news, her mother and I decided we had better learn more about the Hunger Project. And so, in the summer of 2007, we found ourselves in Mozambique and Malawi for 2 weeks, visiting epicenters and witnessing THP's incredible transformative work. What we found were thousands of empowered people working to eradicate their own poverty based upon THP's 3 pillars. Start with women, mobilize everyone, engage government. And in the process, we were also transformed. Once you see what works, you can never forget. In addition, you become committed to a world that works for all life because you know it is possible. Well, that was 13 years ago. Since then, FeelGood has expanded to 24 additional campuses. Its members across the country have volunteered nearly 300,000 hours, and you have participated in 225,000 change-making conversations with fellow students while raising $2 million to eradicate extreme poverty. Unbelievable. And I was thrilled to hear the latest news that FeelGood will now be joining forces with the Hunger Project in a joint effort to eradicate extreme poverty and creating a world that works for all. If I were extreme poverty, I would be running for the hills, because the combination of these 2 brilliant organizations is simply unstoppable. But now I would like to turn my attention to you, the graduates. To say that your commencement coincides with uncertain times is a colossal understatement. The current COVID-19 crisis has been compared to the Spanish flu epidemic of 1918 and the Great Depression of 1929. Experts suggest it is highly unlikely that COVID will kill 50 million people globally like the Spanish flu, nearly 3% of the world's population at that time, or that the unemployment rate will rise to 25% and the stock market will plunge by over 50% as it did during the Great Depression. With that said, COVID is both a global health crisis and an economic collapse simultaneously. It's as if our economy caught the Spanish flu, a terrible combination and unprecedented in our lifetimes. Welcome to your new world, because this is the world into which you now commence, and it's still too early to know when the proverbial curve will be flattened and recovery of both our physical health and economic health will begin. Sorry to bum you out. I know that commencement addresses are supposed to be uplifting and inspirational, but they should also be truthful. It's in everyone's best interest to take a realistic view of one's surroundings and then craft the best plan based upon facts. To do otherwise is Pollyannish and sets you up for failure. But there is good news. FeelGood's mission is to end extreme poverty by 2030 through mobilizing the rising generation as global citizens and strategic change makers. And here, we're talking about you folks, the rising generation of global citizens and strategic change makers. You have spent the past 1 or more years as a member of the FeelGood movement. You have embraced the Sustainable Development Goals to end extreme poverty by 2030, and you know what it means and what it takes to create a world that works for all. You are, first and foremost, a change maker. In short, you are exactly what the world needs now. Is it possible this global pandemic isn't happening to you? It is happening for you? While it may be true that you are not graduating into a business-as-usual economy, it is also possible that what emerges after the dust settles only faintly resembles the past. Our current focus on GDP growth has led to a world that decidedly does not work for all. Oxfam recently reported that just 26 billionaires own as much assets as the 3.8 billion people who make up the poorest half of the world's population. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change expects global temperatures to rise by over 1.5 degrees centigrade between 2030 and 2052, bringing with it devastating storms, desertification, water shortages, health pandemics, with the most serious negative consequences impacting the world's poorest people. We have lost over 1 billion acres, 1/3 of the world's available farmland, due to large factory farms that are destroying the world's soil with their fertilizers, while producing foods that are less healthy and in some cases literally making us sick as obesity rates and childhood type 2 diabetes skyrocket. The past is clearly unsustainable. Business as usual is not an option. Something has to change, and who better to initiate this change than a change maker? What can you do? First, commit right now to being part of the solution and not part of the problem. Does your current behavior in any way contribute to income inequality, climate change, or social injustice? If so, change that behavior. Next, how can you help to create a world that works for all, or start to bend towards social justice, as Dr. King implored us to do? Leverage what you have learned as a feel-good change maker. Start with women, mobilize everyone, empower people to end their own hunger. Stay connected to Feel Good. Become a change maker igniter and become a mentor to future feel-gooders. Consider joining the Peace Corps, where your valuable knowledge can directly impact the empowerment of those that need it most. Teach for America is another excellent opportunity to apply your skills in empowering the disadvantaged in our society. Some of you may be considering going directly to graduate school as a way to bypass this unfavorable jobs market. In that case, consider the Presidio Graduate School, whose mission is to create a new generation of skilled, visionary, and enterprising changemakers to transform business and public policy and create a more just, prosperous, and sustainable world. In the words of the New York Times, if you want to change the world, go to Presidio. In full disclosure, I am a board member at Presidio, so this is a biased suggestion, and there are other graduate programs focused on sustainability that are equally worthy of your consideration. Get involved in a Get Out the Vote initiative. The largest block of voters in the 2016 presidential election were registered voters who did not vote, and the biggest group within this block were those under the age of 30. If you want to change the world, we must vote. You can make a difference here. Gandhi's words, "Be the change you want to see in the world," seems particularly appropriate during this time. As change makers, you already know this. What change are you hoping to see? How can you help bring this about? When I was in Africa with the Hunger Project 13 years ago, I learned an Aboriginal saying that helped in my understanding of what it means to be in partnership with those living in extreme poverty. If you have come to help me, you are wasting your time. But if you have come because your liberation is bound up with mine, then let us work together. In the years since, I have come to learn the truth and wisdom in these words. Indeed, I have found that my liberation is inextricably linked to every life form on this planet. I am because we are. And so it is with you. As a change maker, your liberation is through pursuing a world that works for all. And now, as you prepare to graduate, your time has come. You have been preparing your entire life for this moment. Make the most of it. I will close with a quote from a mural painted on the side of a warehouse in Oakland. It states, "We are the ones we've been waiting for." That's exactly how I feel about you. You are the ones we've been waiting for. And now that you're here, I am at peace. Blessings to you all.